Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ms. Novak, and I'll be engaging with you during this week's learning. We are in Grade 12 ELA Online Instruction, Week 4, Lesson 15. Let's launch into today's learning. Last week, we finished our first read and close read of an excerpt from Back to My Own Country, an Essay by Andrea Levy. Today, we're going to explore some key vocabulary from the text. We'll use our understanding of the text and our insights that we developed last week to deepen our understanding and move forward in the area of vocabulary development. Note that today's video is titled ELA G12 W4 L15. We're studying the same essay that we undertook last week, and today's task is a vocabulary activity. After you complete the daily lesson activities for today, remember to share your learning with someone at home. When it comes to developing your vocabulary and enhancing your practice, the more you talk about the new words, the more they'll stick. Next, make sure to include fluency practice in your daily activities. Again, the directions are right there in your packet. And as always, carve out that additional 20 minutes of time to independently read a selection of your own choosing. This habit will pay huge dividends moving forward. We are going to keep with the tradition of riddle of the day. I think I like these riddles so much, partially because I know the answer, but they're also a little bit tricky. Here's the riddle of the day. One child has 6 1/3 sand piles and another has 3 1/3. If you combine them, how many sand piles do you have? Wait, I know that some of us are going to get a pencil and pen, but try to solve it on your own without paper. I'll give you a pause minute right here if you'd like to go ahead and do so. And the answer is 1. Now we just don't put these riddles in there for just any old reason. This one stands the test of time because this week we are actually going to be enhancing our critical thinking skills. So I know a lot of us just wanted to go right to the pencil and pen and solve it on paper, but when you take a step back, you think critically about the problem, you'll find out the answer is right there underneath the deeper layers. So as we begin to study the text this week, we're going to be taking that same critical eye towards the author's words and structural choices that make up her essay. Let's review some of the materials needed for this lesson. They're all inside of our learning packet with the exception of one bonus material, which is a dictionary. So lesson 15 is located on page 53 of these learning packets. Your note catcher is on page 54. You'll need a pencil, something to write with. And again, if you have a dictionary, great. If not, this is your friend. All right, so feel free to go ahead and review these directions and annotate them as necessary, because sometimes annotating the directions helps you level set before you're learning. You'll of course need the copy of your text, which is located on pages 32 to 40 of your learning packet. You know this text well, we've annotated it all over the place, so make sure to get that out and have it on the ready. Here's our learning target of today. Let's read it together. I can apply my understanding of key vocabulary to new contexts. So this essay is ripe with new vocabulary, and a lot of it enhances the author's intent and the purpose behind her writing, but we can also apply this vocabulary in our daily, everyday lives. Just takes a little bit of practice. Let's review our purpose for reading one more time. It's to examine a first-hand account of how British colonialism complicated the idea of home, not just for the author herself, but for countless others. Our essential question, which drives our thinking throughout this entire unit, is what does it mean to call a place home? I know that before you were investigating whether a home was a physical space, a state of mind, or both. And next, our guiding question. How did British colonialism complicate the idea of home? Let's launch into today's lesson to find out more. Let's review our reading component of today's lesson. So while we'll be reading the definitions of vocabulary words in the margins of the text, It's really important to review the text as a whole, okay? I know that you only focused on a small section of the text in last week's learning, but really and truly, in order to understand fully the author's choice behind the words she uses, we'll be reviewing the entire text, paying particular attention to our own personal annotations, but also the definitions and hints to the words in the margins. After reviewing the text in its entirety and your annotations, you'll be asked to do some thinking and talking about the text. We'll ask you to think about the concept vocabulary words that have been included, such as assimilate, entitlement, upbringing, myriad, indigenous, and hybrid. We'll ask you then, how do these vocabulary words relate to the topic of encounters between cultures? Next, you'll be asked to talk about this question with someone from home, a family member, caregiver, or friend. This discussion can be especially rich, especially if your discussion partner has moved from a different state, a different region of the country, or perhaps region of the world. Let me provide a model of thinking and talking in this instance. Let's go after the word assimilate, which is actually located in paragraph 9 of the text. So for example, we're going to ask, how does this word relate to the topic of encounters between cultures? My initial thoughts led me to, it suggests that the family is trying to become like the majority of the people by adopting their customs, viewpoint, character, or attitude. When people from a culture move to a new country and encounter a new culture, they might try to assimilate in order to fit in. I also feel like there were some undercurrents of assimilation as a form of respect. Again, your interpretation of the text might be different, and I encourage you to extend this line of conversation with someone from home. In the margins, there are dictionary definitions provided for many of the words. You also have the help of your dictionary if you have one handy, or an online dictionary. Keep in mind, sometimes it's actually going back into the text and analyzing the structure of the sentence and the words around that new vocabulary word that will lead you to its true meaning. Sometimes also, a certain definition might not stick for you, so feel free to enhance your understanding of a word through all of this investigation. You'll be asked to take that new understanding of the words and complete the activity that's found in your note catcher. Following that, you'll be asked to select 2 words from that cast of characters and to utilize them in conversation with someone at home, at least 3 times. It'd be really cool too if you challenge someone from home to utilize those words with you as well. Again, let them make their own selections. We know that it takes repeated exposure and use of a new vocabulary word to really make it stick. So good luck in these efforts. I can't wait for our learning tomorrow. Here's a quick preview. The learning target is I can identify rhetorical questions in a text and explain their purpose. Tomorrow we will undertake an investigation around the author's use of craft and structure and rhetorical devices. We'll look and see how the incorporation of rhetoric and rhetorical questions really enhance the impact of her essay. We've reached the end of today's lesson, lesson 15, but just a few quick reminders before you close up shop for the day. Don't forget to talk about your lesson with someone, especially because today's lesson is all about using and applying new vocabulary words. Make sure that you are reading for 20 minutes and logging your independent reading activity in the front portion of your packet. I myself am starting a new book, Thinking in Bets. I heard that the first chapter is supposed to change my life, so we'll see. And practice your reading fluency. Document your efforts as well. Until next time, we'll see you soon.